Hello and good morning, everyone. This is Joy Mercedes from Eden Hearth Fine Properties, and I am in an absolutely beautiful home here in the heart of the Oakland Hills, a very historic area called Maxwell Park. As you can see, I'm standing in front of the hearth, hence the name of my company, Eden Hearth Fine Properties. We are almost 20 years going strong full-time, and our main goal is to help both buyers and sellers alike to build community and to do real estate really well, help sellers sell for their desired price, and advise them how to fix their home up affordably with whatever budget they have to do the best for them so they can then move on to do their next best life. So yeah, and then on the buy side, there are so many wonderful ways to purchase now. I know things are a little bit different than they were about a year ago. They're different than they were like a few weeks ago. But for a long time, we had really what you might want to call abnormally low interest rates, which was great for most of us who wanted to refi or buy a house. But housing prices were even higher then, because it's an inverse relationship, right? When interest rates go down, prices normally go up. So that might make a lot of people feel like they get locked out of the market. But, and then of course, the opposite of that is when interest rates go up, prices go down. So that does happen in most of the country. However, in the Bay Area, where supply is very, very low, there are not a lot of people with their homes on the market, it's still pretty good here in the East Bay. On the peninsula, it's a little bit more difficult because there's even less inventory and the prices get pushed up further, and it's a lovely place to live too. So for all intents and purposes, purchasing in the East Bay, lovely place to live. I have been here almost 30 years. I do not even know how that happened. Don't ask, and please don't try to do the math. I shouldn't even said it. But yeah, it's I purchased a home that needed work in 1996. And I was, at that time, interest rates were anywhere between 8 and 20%, just depending, right? So a lot of talk was going around then that like, oh, you can't buy a house. I know a policeman who has to live with his mom. He makes great money, but he can't buy a house. And you just can't listen to these stories, because that doesn't have to be your story. That's someone else's experience. There's a lot of fear out there, a lot of fear mongering, and that keeps people frozen, and it keeps people from doing things that might actually be extremely good for them. So, and buying a home is not for everyone. It's not, and that's okay. Sometimes it's a really, really good time just to rent. And I enjoyed renting, but I had a lot of reasons that I wanted to buy. I wanted to have more pets. And my landlord wasn't really having that. I now have 2 geese, actually, that it's a love-hate relationship, but we'll talk about that later. But they're wonderful. And they do give me great eggs for making wonderful quiches and baking cookies. They're like fantastic for chefs. And I'm sort of a self-proclaimed home chef. So, and then of course I have the normal doggies and kitties. So. But also I wanted to grow things. I wanted to grow plants, I wanted to grow flowers, I wanted to grow potatoes, tomatoes, fresh herbs. And not to say that you can't do that when you're renting a house, you can. And there are wonderful ways to do that. I do a lot of container gardening with horse troughs or built up flower beds, things like that. But I kind of got tired of, someone else having control over my life with something so vital as shelter over my head. And so I had a few different reasons other than my parents going, what are you doing? You've thrown away $22,000 on rent. Are you insane? That's the way my mom talks to me. She actually said something worse, but anyway, it motivated me. So everybody has a different thing. They just maybe want something that they can call home, that's theirs. It's a very valuable asset, possibly the most valuable asset you will ever purchase in your life. Unless, of course, you're rolling with buying the, yachts. Then those can be kind of pricey too. But the nice thing about home ownership is there's an emotional side to it, where if you just feel like, wow, this feels good, I'm owning this, depending on how I do things. If I buy it where it needs work, so I get it for a lower price, and I maybe buy it with something called a renovation loan, which is fantastic. It's only 3.5% down if you're going to live in it. They loan you the money to do the work on the house within the same loan as buying the property. So that's really cool. Even though it's just like the house is really run down or there's a little piece of it. Or for example, like this beautiful, beautiful property. This is completely turnkey, don't get me wrong. The seller did her due diligence, their due diligence, and they fixed this up beautifully with new paint, beautiful quartz countertops, a nice privacy fence here. That are just one of the things that they did. Just a gorgeous home, and but there's always room for improvement, right? And that loan can work for other things too, like maybe just something that you want to do to make it your own, or make it even more easy to use, or the use of the property even more flexible. So for example, this house has legally 4 bedrooms, 1 non-conforming 5th bedroom. Lots of bedrooms for the Bay, right? So where I'm standing is the upstairs. There are 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. This is kind of a beautiful, nice living room. Then in here, we'll do a walking tour later. We have, and there's some nice built-ins here. There's even more beautiful built-ins in the dining room. Then you have your kitchen. And then beyond that, you have some nice hill views from what they call the big room. It's huge. It has brand new, wonderful carpet with a great, squishy, wonderful, cushiony pad. And that's a great place. It has 1 wall completely empty so that you can put your projector and watch in-home movies at night. It's a wonderful room. There's even room to like have a meditation area. The kitchen is eat-in. However, there's no laundry upstairs. It's downstairs. So you could use a renovation loan to put in a laundry that you want just to the right of the kitchen. There's a space perfectly there for it, and we even have a very reasonable quote from a contractor. You can go out of your pocket and do it. It's not a bad price either, but you could also finance it. And that's one of the beauties of a renovation loan. So downstairs, this is over 2,000 square feet, which is just fantastic. And there are not a lot of big homes in these neighborhoods. There's some, but they're mostly 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. You don't see a lot of 5-2s. So the beauty of this is that you could use the whole home for your living enjoyment, or you can rent out the downstairs and live in the upstairs, or vice versa. Downstairs is just lovely. Even when we were having some really hot weather, it was very cool down there. And there are ceiling fans throughout the home, which is nice. There's also a whole house fan, which you, in the evenings or in the early morning when it's cool, in the summertime, what you do is you open a couple windows, you push the button in the hall, this wonderful fan opens up, it sucks pulls all the hot air out of the attic in your house, and it pulls in the cool. Then you shut it off and you have a cool day during that day, especially if you're working at home. That's nice, and you're not spending all the energy of an air conditioner. Many houses in the valley have an air conditioner and this because it helps save money for their air conditioning costs. But here in the Bay, we don't really get that hot, but there is about on and off. There's a month where we have quite a few days where it does, so that's a nice feature. So then downstairs, we've got 2 huge rooms. They're huge. They're huge. They're not your normal bedroom. It's like each one in New York would be an apartment, or in San Francisco would be an apartment. So they're big. One has beautiful laminate flooring. The other one has, again, very nice brand new plush carpeting with the cushy pad. There is a large laundry room down there. There is a storeroom, and then there's a common area, okay? And there's a nice sized bathroom with a stall shower. It's your second bathroom. So what you've got is you've got some options here, right? There are also two ways to get in and out. We call that ingress and egress. There's a door that goes out to the very, very long driveway. It's a beautiful paver driveway that will accommodate 4 cars in tandem. And then we also have one that goes out to the backyard, which is just a really nice area for dining al fresco and just enjoying friends, family, quiet time, de-stressing from the day, all that good stuff. So that's that. And what you could do downstairs is you could also kind of do a little flip-flop. You could take that laundry room and put it right across the way from it in a stackable. Right now they're side by side. Put it in a stackable, and you could make that area a full kitchen. Again, this is something you could use with a renovation loan. That's 3.5% down. The interest rates are a little bit higher than the current interest rates, but they're a lot less than a hard money loan. Hard money loans can go up into 15% interest or higher. So this is designed to help build home ownership, not break the bank or break you, right? So again, that money could go towards that. Or there's a nice area where I do have a seating area, which we'll see on the walkthrough tour, that you can just make a breakfast bar, or you can leave it as it is. You have a coffee pot, you have an air fryer, you're in business. You can rent out the downstairs, okay? You can have it as an in-law, following the rules of your city of Oakland. You can have an Airbnb down there. This all is a moneymaker for you, and it's very separate from your own living space, so you don't have to share the shower. Yay! So they're downstairs, which is great. Those 2 huge rooms, your bathroom, you can do your kitchen, and you've got a laundry down there. You can put a door at the end of the stairs, and voila, it's like 100% separate. So my client did have tenants, and that was wonderful for her. It worked out very, very well, and that helps to pay your mortgage. Depending on what you do, I had a very nice client who became a friend also. I helped him buy a home in Oakland about 8 years ago. He lived in that property. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. He rented out the other rooms. He was a single guy. He's a teacher. He lived in the Bay for free. And I love that story, or relatively free. He put solar on the house. He had chickens. He had a good time. And it also allowed him to take equity out and buy another house in which he lives now. And then we fixed up and sold his house just about a year ago. And he made a nice, tidy profit. So property can make you money. It's not just an emotional thing, right? I know that's where a lot of people think, oh, money, money, money. But it's also that peace of mind. It's also like, okay, it's a great way to build your wealth. It's a great way, a great part of your portfolio. Might be great to do some type of a 401k. You probably already have that, or stocks. Sure. Or investing in your own business. Those are all really important things. But when you have control of your housing, that's huge on a personal and a social level, because you know, California is building mostly a bunch of homes, a bunch of apartments and things for rental. And again, that's all right, but that's assuming people are going to never own their homes. So I would love to see some legislation, and I'd love to see some people make some noise. That's just my personal soapbox. So homeownership, I think, is really, really important. You get a tax write-off. That's very, very good if you live in the home. If you invest in the property, you can actually do something called depreciate your property on your taxes, because it's become an asset. You're not living in it, and by accounting terms, it actually depreciates as it sits there. You can also write off everything you do to an investment property. Everything, any improvement. I believe you write it, and you have, it could be very, very good. And then you're also getting the rents. Lots of people will start with a duplex. Maybe they'll live in one side, like this house. They live in one side and they rent the other out. So it makes a lot of financial sense too. All my clients, every single person that I've helped, you know, in the last, you know, except for that big shakedown in 2008, everyone sold their home and made a lot of money, because even when the market goes down in the Bay Area, it always comes back up higher. We happen to be in a little bit of a trough right now, right? So the good news about this house is prices go anywhere between depending, well, on this size of a house, I would say between $1 million and 1.4, right? So, but the interest rates are high. Well, there's a way to deal with that, and we can talk more about that in depth. I used to be a teacher, so I love doing move up, move down consults or first time buyer consults. So you can always call me and book an appointment, and we can do that. It's very, very helpful to my clients. They find it very, very helpful and informational. And then we can also decide if we'd like to work together. And I can help you on your journey of selling your home or becoming a homeowner. Or maybe you've done it already and you just outgrew your house and you want to move up to a bigger house. Or maybe you've got a big house, you're ready to downsize. All types of situations, and we do all of them, and we do them easily, effortlessly, and with always the mind of doing the right things to the home as a seller so that you're not overdoing. But back to that pesky interest rate. Right now we're up somewhere around 7 3/4. Well, several of my lenders have informed me that when they bought houses, their interest rate was 18%. Well, you're saying the properties were lower too. Well, you're right. But see, even then, it was a jump. Like when I bought my house, yeah, properties were lower, but I still had no idea how I was going to pay that mortgage. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I go from renting to owning? So I did something called a 2-1 buy down. And it was a 3-1 buy down, but it was fantastic. It eased me into home ownership. What I was able to do is to get an interest rate like of around 5 when I purchased. Because remember, interest rates were around 8 or 9. And then for the first year, I saved quite a bit every month, and then it adjusts up. So when the interest rate came down though, I refinanced into a 30-year loan. And for those of you that are first-time buyers, it's okay. You will probably refinance several times during your time in your house because interest rates have always fluctuated. They do fluctuate. And you stay in close contact with your lender, and you have to make sure they let you know every time when this would make sense for you to do, depending on how long you're going to stay in the home or not, just whatever. So that eased me. You can do that now, and you can get back up to 6% of your offer price from sellers right now to help you pay for that. You don't have to get in your pocket and dig out that hard-earned cash to do that. No. So there's a fantastic way to do that. My phone number is 510-502-7811. You can call me. We can talk about how to do that. It's getting warm in here. That's what I love about the Bay Area. It looks like September in the morning, and then by within a couple hours, it looks like June. So, whew. So anyway, this is a fantastic home. It's listed for $998,000, which is below market value. We'll see where it goes. We are looking to get offers here in the next week. And if you know of 2 families that maybe are like, hey, we're just tired of giving our money away every month to our landlords. And let's say one family's paying like $4,000 or $3,500, the other one's paying the same. That's $8,000 a month. They're just handing over and making someone else wealthy. Okay? Now, let's look at this scenario. They talk to one of our lenders. I only work with consummate professionals, just really great people. I work with Chris and Iris. They work for different companies. They do different types of loans. Lovely people. So you sit down with them. They tell you how to do something. The 2 families could come together, right? All you have to do is give some of your I guess 3 months bank statements usually, your W-2s, or even if you're self-employed, this can work for you as well. And your taxes for 2 years. They formulate that. They look at that. They're very creative folks in a good way, in a safe way, not a reckless way. So that was things of old. But if you hear something that's like way too good to be true, it usually is, and it's not a good situation, and they're not telling you the whole story. And you want the whole story. You want someone. This is not somewhere where you want someone to tell you exactly what you hear. You want to look at all your options. And yeah, so they're really great. They can sit down. They can say, hey, look, wow, You don't have a lot of expenses, you know, whatever you do, do not go out and buy a brand new car before you buy a house. It messes up something called your debt to income ratio. It makes your debt come up here, which shows your money is going less far, so they don't approve you for as much money to purchase a home. So the benefits of this, let's say family A and family B, they flip a coin, or they decide, oh, hey, there's more, you have children, you live upstairs, we'll live downstairs, whatever. So family A is here, family B is here. They put a down payment, maybe it's only 5% or 10%, or maybe they've been saving for years or did something else and they have more. So you talk to your lender and you see what makes sense, because you want to have a comfortable monthly payment. Now remember, you or you both are going to be getting a tax incentive. So maybe at your job you are, maybe you have only one dependent or zero. So you're getting, they're taking out the maximum from your check, okay? So when you have a home, you want to talk to your accountant, and when you have a home, you can actually probably add some more dependents, because, and then so you'll realize more of your check every month, and that's okay because it's offset by a tax credit just for becoming a homeowner. Also, your credit score actually goes up after you buy a house. Isn't that great? You can buy a house with a credit score as low as 585. And if it's lower than that, we can talk to you about how to get it better. But you're sitting pretty if you're somewhere in the sevens, anywhere from the sevens to the eights. And that means you'll get a better interest rate, okay? And the more money you put down, there are all different kinds of things. But to buy a house, you really only have to put down 3.5%. There are even programs that will pay for your down payment and your closing costs, and you never make a payment on it until you sell the house. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later. It's pretty cool. They're down payment assistance programs, and you can actually, with some of them, as a person or two people, make up to over $200,000 a year. So it's not like, oh, you make too much. No, you've got to make money to live in the Bay, right? You have to be smart about how you do things. It's all about how you do something and what you really want. Like, let's say you wanted to save some money to buy a house. Okay, so maybe you only eat out a couple times a month, right? Because I know that when we eat out, it can actually end up being $70 to $100 a pop, right? So if you're doing that every week, that's almost $500. So then let's say you have a big car payment. You're never going to really get ahead, right? I make coffee at home. I treat myself and go out sometimes, but I actually know what I'm getting. I have my organic coffee, I grind it, or I use like the one with the mushrooms in it, Rise. I'm fine making my coffee at home. That saves hundreds too, because I like coffee. So they're just little things you can do, and also being smart, learning how to cook or cooking at home. Home economics is not something that's really taught anymore, but there are so many ways to make wonderful, nutritious meals, because a lot of stuff out there, this is just an aside, they use canola oils. They use oils that are not good and healthy for us. They're not using the olive oils, or I think rapeseed oil is actually a very good oil, or the grapeseed. No, they're using the cheaper stuff that is not good for our bodies. And we don't know it. We're just eating away and it tastes good. When you're cooking at home, when you're learning how to cook, you cook together. It brings families together. It just shouldn't all be on one person, right? You can make it a fun family thing too. So I happen to love to cook, whether it's by myself or whatever. But so all kinds of ways to fit into programs and to maybe adjust your lifestyle a little bit to get what you want, right? There's sometimes when you sacrifice a little bit to get to your goal, and it's okay. It's great. It's also a good way of living. So many ways to buy a home. This, like, let's say two people qualified for $550,000 each, two families. Great. They could both buy this house. That would be wonderful. And then they can start on their path to home ownership. Let's say they live here 10 years, 8 years, 7 years, they have some equity, maybe they decide they want to move out of state. They're probably going to be rolling with a couple extra 100, 200,000, 300,000. So they can have options. And for me, life is all about, my dad taught me, it's always really, really important to have options. So situate yourself in life where you roll with the punches and you have options in life so that you're not stuck or pigeonholed somewhere. And that's not a good feeling, right? You want to live exponentially. You want to be able to have options and have freedom. So if you'd like, give me a call. Call now, 510-502-7811. Beautiful home. Love to have you over. Show it to you. I think we have someone pulling up now. It's an open house right now, 12 to 4. So if you'd like to come by, come by. I'm going to post this. And again, my number is 510-502-7811. Joy Mercedes from Eden Hearth Fine Properties. 20 years growing strong here in the immediate Bay Area, the East Bay. We service all the way from Milpitas to Petaluma, really, and then we go out with Pleasanton too. But we are based in the Oakland Hills, and we do love Oakland, and Oakland is overall a fantastic place to live. We have wonderful weather. We are growing zones 9 and 10. You can grow papayas here, avocados, citrus. I have 5 different citrus trees, pomegranate, any herb that you want. I'm talking about oregano and basil and parsley. And you can have a great time. It's easy to grow potatoes. You cut them in half when they're sprouting, you bury them. You've got like 10 more potatoes. Simple stuff, and they're organic. Anyway, it's a great place to live. Very nice mixture of people. Again, I've lived here since '96, and I've seen so many wonderful changes. And there are things happening everywhere in the world. You just have to bring in the good energy, be the good energy, and not make your decisions based on fear, but on love, really. And part of loving yourself is taking care of your finances and your emotional situation. And when you're good, you spread out the good. All right, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to meeting you. Again, this is 3012 Rawson, R-A-W-S-O-N Street, here in Maxwell Park, a very, very lovely neighborhood. A lady on the corner just told me a story. She moved in 6 months ago, and then she was at the dog park, and 3 big dogs literally just ran over her. She's a petite lady, and so she was on crutches. Her neighbors took her in to her house, carried her in, gave her ibuprofen, made her dinner, and fed her dog. That's what neighbors are like. I have some fantastic neighbors as well in King Estates, and they're just lovely. It's lovely. That's community. That's what we want. All right. Talk to you soon.